Ladies, I'm good. How are y'all?
Good.
Good.
So, takeaways from the scrimmage portion today, what'd you learn?
I thought up front, at least line, just too much inconsistency. Some really good plays, and then some plays that we kind of shanked the ball out of bounds. To be honest with you, so it's got to be more consistent. Energy at first wasn't great, but it got going after practice or after scrimmage, got going a little bit. But certainly to do the things we want to do, got to be more consistent.
I know you're new to this offense too, but how much does Caleb's just kind of dual threat potential open up things for this offense, run and pass wise?
Yeah, when you've got a guy that can scramble the way he does and can take off and run and move the chains with his legs when things break down, or sometimes everybody's kind of covered and doesn't like the read, and you have good protection and it creates a little space there to take off running the ball. It's such a hard thing for the defense because it's the one thing you're not accounting for most of the time, unless they're in a spy situation or whatever it might be. So that added element always makes it advantageous for the offense when you got a guy that can move the ball with his legs.
How have the goal line periods gone at this point?
Pretty good, not bad. We've done them in spurts, not a ton. We've got some. Like every spring ball, you're a little thin in a few spots, and we tried to do as much as we think that is necessary to get good at it, but not overdo it. But so far, I think both sides of the ball have been pretty physical down there, and they've been pretty lively. They've gotten in there, and there's some guys coming off the ball, making some good tackles, and some guys blocking some people. So I think they've gone well so far.
We talk a lot about the players learning this offense. What was the process for you grasping this offense over the last few months?
Yeah, just a lot of hours with Coach Riley, watching film, learning terminology, learning the way he thinks about things. There's always every adjustment you could always go 2 or 3 ways with it, so just learning his thought process with all the adjustments that he wants to see and how he wants to see the line adjust things and overall the scheme-wise and offense. So just hours spent with Coach Riley in the film room watching, so leading up to spring football.
Have you got to the point of being making inputs yourself and saying, I'm seeing this, maybe we could try this? Or
Yeah, I think we're always at that point. One thing about Coach, he's really collaborative, and he's going to listen to everything you have to say and make a decision. Yeah, certainly we got a lot of really good coaches in our room that have got a lot of experience. So yeah, we're getting to those points. We're always. Coach Riley loves to talk football. He loves to listen to your thoughts about how you see things, and just because he's really curious about the game, he loves being around the guys. And the one thing about this game, all of us, you learn something new every year. So it's just amazing. Heck, you feel like you learn something new every week. So. He's a very curious guy, loves talking football, loves talking about scheme, different ways to attack people.
Does this offense remind you of any other system you've worked in?
I'd say, from a terminology standpoint, scheme standpoint, probably closest to Oklahoma State. It was the version, the air raid has obviously evolved and progressed over time, but it was a version of the air raid terminology-wise and scheme-wise.
What more than anything can you point to kind of is an indicator for the success Coach Riley has had so far to this point?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, we're still building, obviously, on both sides of the football, and I think the biggest thing you're measuring right now is just intensity, attitude, enthusiasm. You're trying to see our guys out there giving their best, play after play, grinding through, and those things all feel right to me. Even though sometimes the execution is inconsistent, it feels like the culture and the attitude and those things are right. So as long as those things are right and the guys are working really hard, we'll get the rest of it taken care of. It'll take some time, but it certainly feels like those things are right and it's headed in the right direction from that standpoint.
Are there any individual guys? I know you talked about building up those depth positions, those backup spots. Is there anybody stepping up over the past week or so that's kind of caught your attention?
Yeah, I think Mason Murphy has a real shot out on the edge as a tackle. I really, he had an injury leading up to spring, so the summer's big for him as far as the weight room and strength development, but athletically, very athletic, certainly can be a good player. Max Gibbs has stepped up inside and is doing a nice job. He continues to get better and better at understanding the scheme, and I think a couple other guys, and Andrew Millett at center has done a really good job, and then Gino Canonis has really last 2 or 3 practices kind of really stepped up his game, really doing well. So those guys are the guys. They've all improved. Those guys are guys to me that have caught my eye a little bit.
Thank you, Coach.